Hey, this is Jeff from Evans Tuning. Here's a few things you need to know about bringing your Subaru into us to have it tuned. One, you're going to want to have your Accessport and your locking wheel key if you have one. You're going to need your Accessport so we can actually tune the car. You're going to need your locking wheel key so we can take the lug nuts off your car, take the wheels off, put the hub adapters on, and put it on the dyno. So if you have a WRX or an STi, you have full bolt-on. So you have a 3-inch catback, you have an intake, you have a top mount, you have the full bolt-on set without changing the turbo, without changing the injectors. The one thing that you should do is do a fuel pump upgrade, whether it's a 255 Walbro or a DW65C fuel pump. Do a fuel pump before you bring it into tune, so we don't run out of fuel while on the dyno. Your injector duty cycle will get way too high if you're on the stock pump. If you're making any kind of decent power, much over 300 horsepower, which most of the stock bolt-on parts can do. So you don't want to be in that situation. Make sure you do a fuel pump. So if you have a WRX in particular, and you have the stock top mount, you want to upgrade it before you tune it. You don't have to. It's not a necessity. It's not like I won't tune your car if you don't have it done. You don't want the car to heat soak while you're getting on it several full throttle runs back to back, or while on the dyno. The ECU is going to have a learned knock pattern. It's going to pull timing. Ultimately, your DAM may change from 16 or 1.0, and the ECU is going to detune itself, and then it's going to relearn and detune. So it's going to be inconsistent power. Doing an upgraded top mount or a front mount is going to make more consistent power. So you're going to make that 300 or 320 horsepower consistently pull to pull all the time. The ECU won't do a learned pattern, and you'll be happy. So if you're getting tuned with a mass airflow tune, so if you're not speed density, so you're using the mass airflow sensor and not the MAP sensor for the tune. So if you're MAF sensor, you need to make sure you don't have a leak after the MAF. So you don't have a leak between the MAP sensor and the turbo inlet, or if you have a front mount, all the charge piping, all the couplers, or if you have the stock top mount between the two couplers or the blow-off valve. You don't want to have a leak. If you have a leak, then the ECU is not going to know what's going on. It's not going to register the proper amount of airflow. The tune will be thrown off if you end up fixing it later, and in general, the car won't run quite right. So make sure you have a smoke test or a boost leak check done before you get in for the tuning appointment to make sure things go as smoothly as possible for you and you have the best possible outcome. So if you're planning on buying an upgraded downpipe and exhaust, the one thing I'd recommend, if you don't have to do, is to try to get a catless downpipe. The catted downpipes that are on the market, from my experience, over long term, over 5, 10,000, 20,000 miles, the cat will actually brick solidify, which can lead to overboosting, which can lead to excessive back pressure and actually damage the engine. It can lead to a lot of problems. So if you're able to run the car and have it tuned without keeping the cats in place, do it. It's going to be better long term. It's going to make more power, and you'll be happy. So if you have a 2008 Subaru STi, you may have experienced what's known as a GR Stumble. So between 25 to 3,000 RPM, you might have a hiccup. It's there stock, just slightly. Once you modify the car, you do bigger injectors, it's much more pronounced. It's a resonance in the fuel system, the way it's designed, specifically from 2008 and newer. The only way to rectify this is actually to change the fuel pressure regulator and lines. COBB sells, in particular, COBB sells a kit to replace it and to fix it, along with the tune, and the combination of both will get rid of the GR Stumble, as it's called. So you want to make sure you do that before you bring it in for tuning. It can be done afterwards. It can be done after tuning appointment, but it's ideal to have it done before, so that there's no discrepancies and you don't have to bring it back and get it retuned. So we've covered a couple topics here, a couple maybe pertinent or main topics. We're going to have an expanded tuning checklist that's Subaru specific on our website. You can check it out. If you're coming in, you bring your Subaru, your WRX, your STi, your Legacy, your Forester, whatever you have that's a Subaru. If you're bringing it in for tuning, you want to check it out. Make sure you're ready to go. Make sure everything's right. So both you and I are happy, and have a good tune.